Hello, this is Ibuka, and today we continue our series in the principles of graphic design, the secret to making appealing design. In our last video, we spoke about contrast, spoke about alignment. In this video, we're going to be continuing with the principles of design, and we'll be taking the first one, which is emphasis. Okay, emphasis. What is emphasis? Emphasis is also referred to as dominance. Okay, design is visual communication. So in every design work, in every work of design you're going to be doing, you there is always a central theme in every design. There is always a most important message in every design. And what emphasis says is that that most important message should be given the most impact in that design. Okay, that's what emphasis says. Now, also, what emphasis does is it lays importance on parts of a design that the designer wants you to see. Okay, parts of a designer wants you to see. Okay, good. So it shows the impact of a design in an object. Now, it also refers to the part of a design that catches the user's attention. Okay, good. For instance, in this whole slide we have here, right? You see the word emphasis and you see does. Okay, so does also catches your attention in this design. Okay, good. So like contrast, emphasis can also be created through color, size, weight, and shape, right? You can also create emphasis to the main point of your message through color, size, weight, or shape. So that means that you could give it a different color, okay? You could make it bigger, right? Usually, to lay emphasis on the central theme of a message, usually done by making it bigger, right? Or giving the different color from the rest of the background, right? Or then making the font weight thicker than the rest of the other objects, okay? Or using some specific shapes. It's very similar to contrast in that regard, okay? Now, emphasis creates a focal point in the design. It guides the human eyes through the important parts of the design. So it creates a focal point. It fixes your eyes on something, right? It fixes your eyes on a particular point in that design. That's what emphasis does. Okay, emphasis can also be created with images. Okay, I'll show you example where an emphasis was created with images. You can also create emphasis on image. So that means you point the eye of the reader or the viewer to that image. Okay, good. Now, this is an example of an ad for McDonald's burger, right? Now, as you can see, the moment you look here, the image catches your attention. You know that the first thing you're looking at here is a burger, so you know this ad is definitely about a burger. Okay, so that is emphasis. Okay, that's what emphasis does. With an image, it catches your attention first. Okay, it catches your attention first, then you can then go on to see the McFlamed here. Okay, and then you read the rest of the other sentences. So emphasis catches your attention, right? The thing giving the most emphasis in a design is what the user would gravitate towards first. Okay, so it's important that in every of your design, note the central message of that design. Note the central message of that design. When you note that central message, then you can then say, okay, this is what I will give emphasis on. That's why it's important that you analyze every design carefully. Okay, it's important you analyze every design brief carefully to know exactly what your client wants. Okay, emphasize every design brief carefully to know exactly what your client wants. But without a design brief, right, you won't be able to know what should be given the most dominance or the most emphasis in a design. Okay, good. So another place where you see emphasis being laid is in user interface designs. Okay, and I'm going to show you some of them very shortly. Okay, now for instance, if you look at this design, the first thing your eye picks is this tree over here, right? You're not picking the version first, you pick this three first. Why? It has been emphasized with size, it has been emphasized with a different color from the background. Okay, good. So this is what your eyes picks first. Now after this, some things just call your attention naturally, and that is this create a site you can see here, and this view demos. Okay, now these are the things that the designer wants you to take note of, right? Now this is a web template, right? A web is a WordPress template they are advertising with this, right? So what they do is he has put this differently so that you'd see it. He wants your eye to catch this, he wants your eye to catch this. Why? Because that is the aim of the design. The aim of the design is to have you to create a site with them. And I'm going to show you this briefly. Okay, I'm going to show you this. Now, we are going to take note of sites, right? We'll take note of sites that emphasize this. We're going to take note of, I'm going to open some websites for you, and you take a look at where emphasis is placed in the design. Okay, take a look at the places where emphasis are placed in that design. So let's go in shortly. All right, so if we go to paystack.com, okay, now if you take a look at this interface, the first thing that greets your eye here, oh, modern online and offline payments for Africa, given that's more or less like the headline, right? But the next thing that catches your attention is create free account, right? They place emphasis on those things, on those menu, because that's the action they want you to take. Okay, so it doesn't emphasis deals with not just the headline or the most important segment of a design, it also deals with the other parts of the design that you want the viewer to notice. For instance, I have Domino's Pizza opened here. If you open Domino's Pizza site, the first thing you see is start your order, delivery or carry out. Yes, all of this will catch your attention, but then you can see this delivery and carry out, they didn't make it the same blue color they use here. They made it red to catch your attention, okay? Because this is the action they want you to take after you must have seen this beautiful picture of pizza that would have gotten you excited and it would have been irresistible. Once you see this irresistible picture, the next thing they want you to see is, oh, delivery and carry out. Okay, good. So that's exactly how emphasis work. Okay, they could decide to just write this the same way they wrote this start your order, but if they do that, they'll reduce the amount of people that are ordering, because there will be no emphasis placed on it, and the eye would easily miss it. If they made it the same font with this, you will easily just read it as one sentence and it wouldn't catch your attention. That's why they use a different color. They use a shape also to make it stand out from the rest of the background. Good. So that exactly is what emphasis does. Now we are going to the next principle of design, and that is known as balance. Okay, balance. Okay, what exactly is balance? Balance is the distribution of weights around a design. Okay, balance is the distribution of weights around a design. Now, this could be a little more technical, right? This could be a little more technical, but um, if you notice lots of designs, you get the hang of how balance works. Okay, good. So balance is the distribution of weights around a design. Every design element has a weight. Okay, every element in design has a visual weight. Okay, so the moment you make it such that the design so for balance means that there is equal weight across all the sides of the design. Okay, and I'll show you that shortly. Balance, when done correctly, is not noticed. Okay, and then there are two types of balance. You have symmetrical and asymmetrical balance, right? Good. Now take a look at this image. Take a look at this image. Now this is a very balanced image. Okay, your eye is just calm, there's no agitation. Okay, you just read this smoothly. This is a very cool image. Your eye sees this as appealing. Good. Now when I say symmetrical balance, right, now if we draw a line running from the middle of this design, right, you notice that it more or less has equal weights on both sides, right? Take a look at this. This has this rectangle here is showing you the weight on this side, and then you can see the weight on the other side, right? So both sides more or less seem to be weighty. I know there is something written here at the bottom, right, but let's just ignore that because both sides here are weighty. Okay, it's still, even this written at the bottom still creates a form of balance to them, right? Now this is what balance is about. Now take a look at this image also. If you look at this image, if we draw a line from this running from the center of this design, you would see then it's more or less like the elements are distributed equally are along both sides of the design. Okay, along both sides, you see, right? They are distributed equally. Now this is what you call a balanced design, symmetrical balance. You can also see there is a space here which is also in tandem with this space here. Good. Also for this design, this is a poster design. We draw a line running through the center. Now take a look at how balance works in this design. Take a look. Now you see this is a square on this side. You see that equal weights on the other side. This banquet of love, right, if you look at it, is distributed also equally amongst both sides. Okay, it's an equal distribution. Then we go up. Okay, then you see also we have what's on the left here, all right, reflecting on the right. So if you look at this design as a whole, you realize that there's equal weight on both sides of the design. Equal weight on both sides of the design. And then if you look down here, this be expectant cuts across also. So this is what a balanced design is, right? This is what a balanced design is. Like I said, this is symmetrical balance, and this is what a balanced design is. Okay, good. For asymmetrical balance, you could have one more elements on this side than on this side, but then it's still balanced. Okay, you could have more elements here than here, but then it's still, your eye still flows right with it. Good. So that's for this video. In the next video, we're going to continue with in the series of the principles of design. We'll talk about the last two principles left, which are consistency and hierarchy, right? We'll talk about those last two principles in the next video, right? I hope you've learned so much. Now what I want you to do, go ahead, take a look at designs and start critiquing them even before you watch the next video, right? Take a look at how balance works in a design, take a look at how emphasis works in a design. You could just have a mental picture, draw a line through any design you see right now and try to see how balanced that design works, right? Or how balanced that design is, right? That way you realize that these principles are principles that you cannot do without in design. Okay, good. So let's move on to the next video. Principles of design continued.